I'm going to show you how to bomb your driver longer than ever before. And it's going to be so simple that you can implement it within a half a bucket of balls. In fact, these two ideas I'm going to share with you are so powerful that this golfer picked up over 60 yards implementing them. All right, first I want you to check your grip, because a lot of short hitters out there are still doing one thing in common. That is putting their left hand too far under the grip so that their left thumb can fit at 12 o'clock. And this is just too weak of a grip to get a lot of distance with. So let's make sure that the thumb is at 1 o'clock, but even more importantly, you get the rest of your hand over the top up against the thumb to form this nice tight crease. And make sure that you've got the grip running across the base of your fingers rather than into the palm, so you can really unlock your maximum amount of speed. Now that we've got the grip out of the way, let's talk about the very first move. Now, the longest hitters in the world, they approach the ball at a very certain slot or angle into the ball that you probably are not doing. And that is way from the inside and shallow. So the club is approaching far from the inside. But since it bottoms out several inches behind the ball, as it turns upwards, the path of the club squares up with the target, and so does the face. So you have to bring that club from this slot in order to get maximum distance, because we want to hit up on the ball and hit high launch with a low amount of backspin. That'll give you the most carry and the most roll you can possibly get. But remember, I said this has nothing to do with the downswing. Instead, we're going to look at a couple key setup positions that are going to help give you the best chance of returning the club automatically on this inside to square and upwards path. Now, most golfers are already cooked when it comes to distance before they even reach the top of their swing. So most golfers are going to set up with their shoulders too level. And also, once they put that left hand on there, they're going to put their right hand on there over the top like this. And now let's see what that has done to my shoulders. They're pointing way off to the left, and I almost am set up for the over the top, just like this. And there I've hit a ball that is low and slicing with lots of backspin. The worst thing you can do if you want to get distance is to hit downwards, hit a low launch angle with an excessive amount of backspin. In fact, if you look at the statistics, since about 25 years ago, when the ball and the club, the driver face, have been maxed out according to the USGA rules, pretty much the only thing that has affected driving distance on the PGA Tour is the amount of backspin that they get. The initial launch angles, other than the latest fitness craze in the last few years, led by Bryson DeChambeau, that these guys are getting faster from just training to be faster. But the only other variable is that they hit the ball with less spin off the tee. Higher launch, lower spin is going to give you longer drives. So let's adjust our setup to give us the best possible chance at high launch, low spin. So first, we've got to get the right shoulder dropped about 3 inches below the left. And we're going to do that simply by doing a little bit of a hip bump laterally with the left hip. Watch, it's going to be barely perceptible. Bump. And I'm also going to take my right knee and I'm just going to flex it in towards the center, almost imperceivably, like this. Now, what this has done, it has set my spine not straight up and down anymore. Watch what happens when I bump. And I'm going to shorten the right leg by bending at the knee. And I'm going to set my spine at a slight tilt. And you can see now the T to that spine now has my right shoulder a bit lower than the left. Now, I like doing this much better than just setting my head back here to get the tilt, because now my head is way out of the center and hitting it straight is going to be a much riskier proposition from here. Now, in order to swing with a little bit more of an inside-out bias, in order to take advantage of the upswing, we want to set our shoulders slightly into right center field. So if square would be shoulders parallel to second base, I'm going to set my shoulders, first I'm going to do that bump, and I'm going to drop the right shoulder low. Then I'm going to take my shoulders and I'm going to close them a bit. Just a bit like this. And now I'm set up on the inside out upwards bias, with the tilt to the shoulders encouraging me to hit more upwards, and the turn of my shoulders into a slightly closed position. This is going to encourage the club to both swing from the inside, hit up on the ball, hopefully hit some draw spin, and get high launch, low spin bombs. All right, so let's try this one time. Here I've got the good grip. Now I'm gonna set my right shoulder both under and a little bit back. You're gonna see how my right arm now fits more under the grip. This will also help you if your grip is too weak. If your grip is too weak, your arm wants to be more on top. This will help you get your arm under. So once I've set the shoulder under, I'm going to try to bias myself over into right field, which is going to be a lot for some of you out there who are used to making your shoulders point left when you get over the ball. This is going to feel quite a bit like turning your back to the target at address. But here we go. Good grip. Drop the shoulder, left shoulder across the line into right field just a bit. And here we go. And there's a good long straight drive. Now you can see the stats of that drive coming up on the screen here. I approached the ball on a rightward swing plane, but hit up on the ball, therefore negating that rightwardsness, and the path ended up pretty darn straight. So hitting upwards is going to negate any excessive inside out you've got to the club path. But this is how all the long drive guys do it. This is how the longest guys on tour do it, and they really want to go after a big one. Guys like Jake Knapp and others who have high ball speed, when they really want to launch one and get it out there long, they'll turn this way, and so they can hit up on the ball and get high launch, low spin. Now the other thing I want you to work on for just a bit is your takeaway. However, you're going to be in a head start once you get that shoulder tilt and turn to right field, because it's going to bias you towards a certain takeaway. See, what I see with most short hitters, and it leads right from the setup position where the shoulders are level, shoulders are left, it's conducive to picking the club up on the outside like this. Now, you're either going to come back down this way, which is very natural, or if you want to hit it from the inside from here, you're going to have to do a big circle and reroute that thing, which is unlikely to happen. So let's do that one more time. So we're going to get that hip bump and the knee bump like this, dropping the right shoulder under. Then I'm going to feel like I'm turning my shoulders into right center field, give myself a little bit of a closed shoulder bias. This is really great for you senior golfers out there looking to pick up some of that lost distance that you've like to get back from over time. Now, you're now going to be on a bias to sweep, 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 sweep on a curve to the inside, just like this. Sweep and then get wide. So let's look at that from this angle. Here we've got left hip bump, right knee bump, tilts the spine. Make sure we have a little bit of a right field shoulder bias, just a few degrees. Now the right hand wants to set under once I put it into it like that. And now we're going to have a good neutral to neutral strong right hand grip. Now watch this. I am now at a bias. It's very unnatural now to pick the club up on the outside, but instead I want to go sweeping on a curve to the inside. And what I want you to do is extend this handle as far away from your sternum as you can. In fact, I want you to do that so much that you feel this left shoulder starting to get involved very early in your backswing and starting to wind those shoulders up very early. So if you can get really wide, so sweep it on a curve to the inside and get wide like this. See, I'm barely halfway back and I'm already moving towards that 90-degree shoulder turn. I'm already 70, 80 degrees shoulder turn before I even get halfway back. We get lots of width, we get lots of momentum this way, In order to make a longer backswing, for you guys out there losing distance because you have a shorter backswing now, this momentum from winding the shoulder in and sweeping it wide, it's really going to help you extend that backswing a bit more. So now let's implement that. We're going to get our shoulder tilt, get our shoulders in position with that little adjustment of the shoulders and the bump of the hip and the knee. Then I'm going to make sure that I try to sweep that thing back wide on an arc. So let's do that once in slow motion. It would look like this. Wide on the arc like this. And now I'm really set up to return the club back from the inside with that upward blow for that high launch, low spin bomb. Let's give that a shot. Now, I'm gonna try to focus on smooth, sweeping takeaway on the arc, nice and wide. Here we go. Whew, that's bombed. Way out there. All right, we got a couple drives out there, over 300 yards. Not bad for a 55-year-old. So just keep in mind, your grip and your setup can greatly bias or encourage good motion as feeling natural. Bad grip and bad setup is going to bias you to feel very comfortable making poor motions like this up and away takeaway, which leads to the down and across slice, low hitting, high spinning balls that don't go anywhere. So implement these things in just a bucket of balls. I bet you can do it. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. I read them all and I will answer all the good ones. Hey, thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope that if you found this useful, you'll go down and hit the like button. I'm Steve. Check out my website, hititlonger.com, for lots more articles and great videos that are going to help you with your game. And don't forget, if you need additional help, I'm available for coaching both online and in person. Email me at this address above or check out the website and sign up there. And as always, I will either see you in the next video or I'll see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.